You were having a pleasant evening with your friend at a restaurant when suddenly the waiter brings in the wrong plate for lunch. Your friend flies into a rage at the waiter, and after the waiter leaves, you are left feeling more than simply irked at your friend's behavior. You try to confront your friend in a calm manner, however, your friend immediately feels attacked and begins to defend themselves and argue with you. How did you get here, and what can you do to de-escalate the situation? So, in order to de-escalate the situation, you must ask, what behaviors escalate conflict? My name is Lauren Aguilera, and today we will be focusing on the topic of behaviors that escalate conflict. To escalate conflict is to worsen the overall situation of the conflict rather than heading into the direction of resolution. It means taking steps towards behavior that can be viewed as negative in conflict and intensifying the situation. Behaviors that escalate conflict are often behaviors that are in opposition of what behaviors you should be taking when faced with a conflict, and are generally unhealthy and negative manners both towards the other party and oneself. According to psychologist and relationship consultant James L. Creighton in 2019, escalation is triggered when someone feels poked, threatened, or put down. Again, this may be something very small when you look back at it. He explains that conflict is essentially boiled down to each side trying to justify their behavior based on what the other side did rather than taking responsibility for that behavior. Creighton states the most common forms of conflict escalating behaviors are the following: blame and accusation, name-calling, expanding the issues in which you are fighting, starting to claim allies, and distortion of communication. The first behavior, blaming and accusing, escalated conflict because it makes the other person feel attacked, in opposition to feeling seen or heard. The second behavior, name-calling, usually leads to general angering of both parties, which can lead to more extreme negative manners of communicating, worsening healthy communication. The third behavior, expanding the issues in which you are fighting, changes the issue of which you are arguing, and in turn proliferates more and more issues, leading to both unclear and increased tension and anger in an argument. The fourth behavior, starting to claim allies, usually leads to increased conflict through creating feuds both within the parties arguing and external parties depending on which side they are allies towards. The final behavior is distortion of communication, which is when those in conflict communicate through attacks on character, generalizations, presumptions, and overall distortion of multiple factors, including the ones previously mentioned. General reasons for wanting to escalate can range from the attempt to justify one's behavior rather than to take responsibility for it, a need to express emotions, and a desire to inflict emotional or, at times, physical harm towards the other party. Wanting to take behaviors to escalate conflict is not always out of a malicious nature, although it can be, but it can be an attempt to try to express oneself in an argument in the attempt to be understood. A popular educational YouTube channel called Brain Pop has been used in the education system for several years in numerous topics, you might even remember them, and has done a great job of quickly and clearly explaining its target topic. The video I have chosen is called Conflict Resolution: How to Settle Your Differences Fairly from 2021. The main points brought up in this video are explaining both examples of behaviors that escalate conflict and how taking these behaviors results in the opposite of one's desired goal and a better set of actions to take instead. We all both intentionally and unintentionally follow behaviors that escalate conflict, but the real question is how can we catch ourselves in the moment and how do we handle conflict? According to clinical mental health counselor Dan Bates, 2021, the first step lies in the ability to regulate your own emotions. Approaching the other person calmly and taking a moment to collect yourself from the intensity of the situation is a great way of doing this. The second step is to acknowledge the feelings of the other person. Simple acknowledgement, without boxing it into right or wrong, can allow for a sense of mutual understanding and respect. The third step is to, ironically, not try to fix the situation due to the potential of intensity one may face when they attempt to enter problem-solving mode in an argument. The fourth step is to be present. Do not attempt to remove yourself from the situation unless you have to walk away for safety during conflict. Walking away allows for feelings of invalidation and disrespect towards the other person in an argument. You want to validate them, not invalidate them. The fifth step is to model appropriate emotional regulation and self-control. This allows for the influence of the same behavior being replicated in the other party. The sixth and final step is, once a situation has de-escalated, attempt to redirect and problem solve. This will help in identifying what the source of the issue is and what may have led to its escalation, as well as clearing up any miscommunications and allowing for a much clearer head in solving issues.